So, Oasis Network. I covered this a couple of months back. We're going to go back over that video as well, talk about the hype, the FOMO, the buyer's remorse that I certainly was seeing a lot of people talk about. Now, let's talk about it. I do like this project. I am not an investor, by the way. Just I'm covering it because it did well on my channel. And a lot of people have been asking me, can you go back over this, please? Okay, I will. So it's important to know what it is. And as I say, not an investor, but I am looking at this for the future, basically, see where it falls, maybe collect a few, because I do think it is a good project, because we see a lot of ecosystems that do well, but we see some with pretty crap utility, but some with good. And I find this is more on the edge of good utility, where it is potentially going to have a lot of scalability solutions and ultimately quite a big network of developers essentially working within it. So I do like the look of it, but I am just waiting. I'm chilling out, relax, seeing where it falls, seeing what opportunities are there. Now, this may not be a long-term hold, but it may be a good opportunity to make some money if it falls really low, as we know what it can do. We know it came out at kind of a wrongish time, the end of a bullish kind of cycle in a way, but we'll see how it goes. But let's talk about what I spoke about a while back. So I did a video in November, literally the top of the market, and I was talking about FOMO, and look how ugly that guy is. By the way, God, I've changed since. Look at that, I must have had a good night's sleep. New lighting, to be fair. But I was talking about the people saying, oh my God, how can you buy the top of this? What is wrong with you? Why are you doing this? Just wait, chill out, relax, wait for it to come down. And if I fast forward the video, I put a few little levels in, but we've gone a lot lower, and I have done a bit of analysis recently on it, so it brings me to this point where I think it could go as well. And I think it will go lower because we are still in quite a bit of a downtrend. And I'm getting quite bored of people saying we're not in a bear market, but I'm also getting even more annoyed that people are going, we're still in a bull market. It's like, right, just look at the charts, look at the percentages. We are not in a good market right now, right? It's simple. We are not in a bull market, and people are trying to get away from the fact that we could be actually going into a bear market. Now, this is what's happened, right? Now, let me just refresh this page so I can get the total 2 at the top there. It's probably going to completely cock this up. It has, great. BTC pair, I don't want to cover you yet. Bear with me. One tickle. There we go. So, back to where I was. So, this was some analysis I put on a while back, right? You can tell it's old because it's my old Fibonacci color sequence, right? So, essentially, let me put my new one on so you'll see it. Basically, we had a monster dip on the daily time frame, and it took a long time to pull up, but we finally pulled up in towards the 382 level, and then we melted towards 19 cents, right? Give or take. We're currently around 21 cents. That level was a monster level regardless, right? You can tell this is old. That's my old colors as well. Dear me. So this whole level here came a landing pad, right? A big, massive area of interest. Now, I feel we're going to go lower. Sorry, guys, because when we start looking at the overall picture here, we've had this dump, we pulled up, and we hit another level here. Let's see where this actually went to. So we had a dump, we pulled right into the 382, and again, look at that level, right where the 618 level is this time, right? Because it's obviously a much compressed move. But we also need to look at this point now. We are creating lower lows throughout here. I think we are going to go quite low, and this level here, the 1.272, could be a future reference point, which it probably is, resistance and support here. So 12 cents, boys and girls? Ooh, maybe, and I think it's a possibility here. So if I zoom in a bit, and we're going to go now, I want to see where we're going to go from this point. So this impulse to this bottom, and I said 12 cents, it's in between these two, give or take 12 cents. So I would be looking at some interesting orders really low. And I know people are going to cry soon, but realistically, what's to stop it going down to 4 cents? Nothing really. There's no hype there. It's a possibility. That's a possibility, not a prediction. It's a level for future reference, the start point of the pump, right? It could also go lower because it has been lower in the past too. So just always have your wits about you when you're investing in projects, right? Always take profits, always look to accumulate lower, and it does make sense. Now, let's look at some levels. Now, I've obviously put that level on there, all right? Zoomage down, I think this level here, around 14 cents, is also a very meaty, juicy level. Why? Because if I zoom to the right, left here, sorry, we've got resistance and support. So I don't want to go too deep. I don't want to make people, run away from the channel. But this is why I do this. I do this to map out potential zones of interest. Now look at this, right? Just if I just do this all the way across here, we got support levels, resistance levels, consolidation, and then all the way across, we could be going there roughly around 9 cents, right? So that is that. If I go to the weekly time frame, it'll look a lot more apparent, and you can be able to see it. It looks a mess. It looks an absolute mess. But realistically, with broken structure, we're looking pretty bad right now. So we have to be careful. Anyways, let's talk more about the bullish scenario potentially. I'll go to the 2-day time frame, so it's a bit of a better sequence. What if we bounce, do a relief rally? Now, as I've said, those levels there, they're in confluence with structure and the Fibonacci. You can leave them there. You can leave them there for future reference, right? It's an important note. Now, if we do an absolute giga kind of situation here where actually, as I've said, we've done this anyways. What if we do go down to these levels? Look at the 618 level here, roughly around 8. I can, if I wanted to, I can just do that and pop that a little bit lower or make it a little bit bigger to cover 2 situations there. Now, as I've said, what about a bullish situation? Well, we could be looking at this. What if this is the bottom for now? Are we going to see a retest of 34 cents? Well, maybe. If you're in this and you bought high, maybe it's a good idea to maybe sell something around these resistance points. Just take a little bit off the table because you don't want to go in lower, do you? There's nothing worse than an asset going lower. And this could actually be forming a very, very obvious head and shoulders where we could be going into this region here, and then it could be the final kind of destination where we may well be forming a bit of a head and shoulders kind of pattern, and it could be going a lot lower. Just my words of advice there. So always look to kind of bug out if you feel that the market could be getting pretty ropey. But overall though, I've seen worse. I've seen a lot worse. But realistically, we're in a downtrend. We've had an impulse, we've pulled back in, we've formed a lower high, which is not good. And then we've now formed a new low. Now, for me, a lot of bulls will probably start getting hopium. As I say, if this is the bottom, we are going to bounce back up and into a level of further resistance where you could probably argue maybe about 26 cents, give or take around this point. Could be one. So just be careful. Now, there we go. Overall. For me, actually, bear with me. What I will do, just so I'm not completely bearish, I will put a level here where people could be looking at maybe removing a position potentially at that level there. Now, if I zoom across here, you can see a lot of wick action, give or take around that point. So that could be a great place to maybe offload. Anyways, we're talking about offloading profits, right? Profits are king. And not enough people in my channel or around the whole crypto space take profit. Make sure you do. Now, I utilize this. This is one method. I use others as well, by the way. So one thing that I've often said is if you've got some Tether, you can earn your 10%. Now, if you are in the US, unfortunately, you can't open an account at the moment. However, in the Europe side of it and around the UK as well, you can get some more stuff. Now, the one thing that I will say that BlockFi does better than anything else, you can change what you get paid into. Even though you're going to get the same sort of interest rate, especially on Avalanche, and as you will with Tether, you can avoid the volatility and you can get paid in the token, which does make sense. So if you want to set it up and you've got low kind of values of your token that you want, guess what? Get paid in that crypto. And what would you rather have? A very, very low value of a coin, whether it's Polkadot, Avalanche, Solana, whatever, and you get paid 10% and it's stable and you get paid that per month. Nice little DCA. Anyways, back to the BTC pair. Now, the caveat with the BTC pair is simple. The simple lines are the Polkadot, sorry, I'm lost. The BTC dominance is starting to trickle back up here, right? So if we're looking at this, the biggest danger point with all of this is very, very simple. If this continues to go up, and let's just say, for example, here, I'll remove some of the noise. I've got noise on here. No, it's gone now. We may well be trickling up to this point here, right? Give or take around this level. If that happens, if you're holding rows right now in the BTC pair, you're probably going to get annihilated. Sorry, guys, because the whole market's going to be the same. If people are jumping out of altcoins because they feel that the dominance is going to go too high, or there's been panic due to certain situations in the world right now, you may well find that this will go up anyways, and you may well find your BTC pair will get absolutely obliterated. Now, the reason why I say that is because, well, it's obvious really. we've got some huge levels on these weekly time frames. Just look at these levels here. You don't even have to use a fib for these tools. You can basically go, well, there's a monster level there, and there's a monster level just where we've kind of been, and also a little bit lower as well, but we won't plot that just yet. So you got, actually, we'll go with that level there. So you got two key levels here, right, of interest. Now, again, looking at like the 3-day time frame, we didn't really have an impulse back up. We had a massive melt, but it hardly even went back up. It just, it absolutely dived, which is kind of a problem here. Now, that's the situation that we're in. If that dominance carries on going higher, this will just go lower because the strength has just got weaker versus the BTC side of it. So if you do have some BTC, you may get some great accumulation, but this is already quite low. Quite a low situation. Wow. If you had one BTC and you put it in at the top, you've lost 60% of your BTC. Whoa, that's a lot. So again, but you've got to flip it upside down. You've got to look at the opportunities. And if you do find this quite low, you may well find it will probably go back up again if the dominance has dropped, aka alt season, and you may well do well off the back of it, which is always important to note. So overall with analysis, there's not really much to look at other than the fact that we may actually, if we're going to go and find a bottom at some point, we will at some point. It'll be interesting to see where it actually does go. And there's not been, I mean, that's a mental. I mean, we could be planning a move already here where if this is the bottom and the dominance has changed, what about if it does go up to this point here and then down to here? It's already highlighted. Pretty cool, right? Pretty awesome. But that is me getting too carried away there. For me, though, looking at the daily, for example, here, in terms of impulses, we've not really had much kind of impulse back up. You know, if we're looking from this dip here, we had a little bit of an impulse back up here. But we could actually be that could be the into the 283 levels, or whatever you want to know it as, the additional 23.6 level. Sorry, bloody hell, I'm all over the place today. Into roughly around that point. That actually, let's look. Let's see if that is the case. Bear with me. Probably is actually. 23 point. Yeah, it is right on the 23.6. You can see that here. Bosh. So that would be the level. And then we're kind of, I think we're already on our way down to that point there, give or take, around where this level is. So we may actually be nearly on there now. So just be careful that we could be bouncing off this, but ultimately it's quite a long way down still. Like, that is a monster dip, one that you shouldn't really be kind of looking to, you know, sell into. I think the selling point's kind of gone. But ultimately, as I say, if that dominance chart goes even lower, higher, sorry, we will see this go much lower. So keep an eye on those big red levels, which, as you can see, are roughly around 300 satoshis and roughly around 500 satoshis. So yeah, not looking great. But for me, long term, I do like it. I think it's good. It's one I'm keeping an eye on. Whether I buy it or not is another thing. There's other assets I do like the look of. I don't like to go too deep. I like to have a lot of, but less of the actual individuals, if that makes sense. So yeah, enjoy. Have a great weekend.